Hi, this is Theo. Thanks for taking the time to visit my channel tonight. I'm sure that it's not by mistake or accident that you're watching this specific video. I'm sure you're marked for distinction and you have an appointment with destiny and you're on a journey to significance, because no human being encounters me and go unfulfilled or go discouraged or go unhappy. Why is it so? It's just my personality. It's just my human psychology. It's just my human personality. It's just me. And tonight I want to talk to you about the human psychology. What is the word psychology? Have you ever wondered? Have you ever thought about the word psychology? You know, the word psychology. Let me go to the dictionary meaning of psychology, and then we can see it and we can relate it. The word psychology is the scientific study of the human mind and all its functions and related behavior. So the word psychology relates to the human being and the study of the human mind and everything that relates to behavior, especially. So what is psychology, and how important is psychology for every human being? Which means that every human being has a psychological aspect of his human divinity. There is a spiritual aspect. So every human being has a spirit, and that spirit is the human spirit of the human being. And the word psychology comes from a Greek word that is called psyche. And the psyche refers. Let me look at the dictionary meaning for the psyche, and I think that will help you. The word psyche comes from a Greek word that says the human soul, mind, and spirit. You know, the human being, their makeup, their individuality, their subconscious identity, their intellect, which refers to the mind, soul, and emotions, their personality, the content of the human being. And the word is from Greek mythology, you know, and it talks about the human essential, you know, what makes the human being, you know, our inner being, our inner personality, you know. So it talks about the soul. The soul, what is the soul? The soul is the consciousness of the body. And the body is the uniform that the spirit wears, which is the human being. So the word psyche comes from this interpretation. And the word psychology comes from this psyche, which only became around the 17th century, when the word psyche became psychology. And what it is that, you see, the word psyche and the word logi, the logi comes from the word logos. And the logos is the same, you know, it's the same meaning as the word of God. The word of God can be a rhema, which is a spoken word in season, or it can be logos, the general word, the given word. And the word, you'll be surprised that the word psychology or the psyche is associated with the same logos, the word of God. Sometimes you hear believers condemn the study of psychology, which is only the scientific study of the mind, the human mind, and all its fashions and all its associated behavior in context. You know, so what is wrong with studying psychology? There is nothing wrong with it. What is wrong with understanding the way the human mind works? If others will do medicine and they will learn how the human body in general functions, what about studying psychology? And every human being has to understand the state of their well-being, which is the state of their human psychology or their human psyche. Because it is so important to understand how your soul, your human mind, and your human spirit works and interrupts with each other. What will this do for you? Understanding your psychological intuitiveness will help you to understand yourself better, because then you understand how your mind works. You understand how your soul, your intellect works. Your mind is connected to your heart, and the two of them expresses emotions, and your soul is the intellect. The intellect refers also to your mind, your will, and your emotions, which is also connected together. And then your human spirit is the only separate that lives in the body. So in the same way you put on clothes and you put them off and you become naked, your spirit man is wearing your body. I mean, if it puts off the body, you are dead. But the power of our psychology is important. The power of our well-being, our state of mind, where we are, our mental processes, our mental and thought processes, because these things defines our individuality. They define our human makeup. They define who we are, what we are. And it can then help us to understand why we are here as spirits living on earth in our body. Because for us to live on earth, we need our human body. And it's important to understand these things. But the word psychology, which is the study of the human mind, and also the study of human behavior, and also the science of the mind, and the science of personality, and the study of our mental processes. How does these things work? The human being has the nerves faculty, which is our five senses. And I'm sure you know what that is. Our ability to feel, our ability to see, our ability to hear, our ability to taste, our ability to do what? Smell. These are the five senses. So what we see in the outward of our being, in our personality, in our outward humanity, transfers information to our mind, which is our intellect, where our soul is. And that communicates into our self-will. So for instance, if you think that you want to go and steal something, rob a bank, you may see somebody counting money and all you think is, I want to go and rob a bank, or I want to go and work and get money. Your mind, your five senses will contribute this, will communicate this information to your mind. And if you're not able to overcome that temptation, it goes into your self-will. And if your self-will is not able to do it, your emotion then will act, taking action from your self-will. So in the same capacity, you have the capacity as a human being to refuse bad decisions, bad thoughts, bad motives, bad perceptions, if they are not in line with the word of God. If they are not in line with your personal values, you have the choice to refuse it. That's why human beings are not stupid. Human beings are not idiots. We are extremely intelligent and powerful beings. God created us in his image. And whenever we have spirituality, develop our psyche, the spiritual aspect of our human being in totality, we are able to live supernaturally, because it's our natural plus is super, and that makes us super. And we're able to help take good decisions, make good choices, and lead an authentic and solid life that defines quality responses. So all I'm saying tonight is this: it's important to understand the power of your psychology. And for most of you believers who think that Christians shouldn't study psychology, and psychology is some kind of demonic, study to embark on, it's a very wrong motive. It's a very wrong idea. Both psychoanalysis and psychology are all connected. And the focus is on our challenging past, and how our environmental challenges can influence our behavior, perceptions, and identity as in who we are and what we have developed to be as individuals and human beings. So it's important to believe that it's good to be to understand this psychological terms, to understand their fashions, to understand how they relate, and to understand how you can build your self-esteem, you can build your personality, you can build self-confidence, you can set goals, you can achieve those goals, you can live in a mental state of positive thinking, and be positive and think positive rather than negative, because they all have responses, they all have effects. I'm glad that you took the time to listen to me tonight, but I'm here to encourage you to build your human psychology, build your human psyche. In those days in the 17th centuries, when they talked about the word psyche before it became psychologists, the logos and the psyche, people, those days, the Greek mythologists and the Greek scientists, now most of this big scientists, they did not believe in spirit. They only believe in the psyche, as in the God of the soul and the mind. They excluded the spirit until recent psychology that believed that psychology as part of the human sciences, has to refer to mindfulness, and which has all come into spirituality in quotes. But most professors and most people that practice clinical, applied, or counseling psychology, majority of people will have affiliations with Eastern Asia religion, as in Buddhism and Judaism and all those, Buddhism and all that, Hinduism, that is India, and all those related, spirituality, which is also full of emptiness. Because I've seen many of them in the absence of the presence of Jesus, the presence of God and the person of Christ in their life, they are nothing but empty and miserable. I'm sure you have an appointment with destiny. It was a pleasure having you tonight. Thank you. It was a bit tough of a subject to discuss, but I'm sure you got something. Thank you. Bye for now.